4 years ago, I was moved from facility to facility, from Alabama to Kentucky to Cleveland. And here in Cleveland, after 2 weeks at Volunteers of America, I was sitting at my desk, alone in my room, thinking about my journey. I want to share this moment with you in the only way I know how, through a poem that I wrote. It captures me, my soul, and the feelings I had that day. The poem is called My PTSD and Me. As I sit here at my desk and chair, my mind begins to wander, over here, over there, down the street, everywhere. My life before this PTSD was a life full of joy and happiness, the way I wanted to be. I enjoyed getting up to the morning sun because I had a lot of things that needed to be done. Housework, recreation, activities, and more. A day at the beach or shopping at the store. Life was beautiful if it can only stay that way. But because of this PTSD, I'm afraid to face another day. The people that I love, I hurt the most because I pushed them away. Can't let them get too close. If I let you in, you would just hurt me. I'm basing my feelings on things that can be. My life before this PTSD was a life full of joy and happiness, the way I want it to be. I hate myself for the way that I feel. God help me, please. I just can't deal. I've hurt so many and it's no excuse, but they have no idea, even a clue. What happened to me, it wasn't my fault, but I still take the blame for it, even though it was an assault against my body, my mind, my heart, and my soul. You might as well put me in a 6-foot hole, 'cause living like this is hard for me. I blame it all on the PTSD. The doctors say, oh, you'll get through this, but the pain of the memories I cannot dismiss. How can I ever live a safe, normal life? I know I will never be somebody's wife. My life before this PTSD was a life full of joy and happiness, the way I want it to be. I know during my recovery, I have a long way to go. Will I ever get over this? Hell no. So vets, I want to tell you that you are not alone. I share some of your pain deep down in my bones. But who can I turn to when I don't know how to trust? And no one wants to be bothered because all I do is fuss. So don't take it personal. It has nothing to do with you. I'm just really a sick person who's trying to make it through. All the struggles, the memories, just to name a few. I really, truly just don't know what to do. My life before this PTSD was a life full of joy and happiness, the way I want it to be. So family and friends, please try to understand that I never meant to hurt you. That was never my plan. Good morning. I'm Kim. And that poem, I wrote it in August of 2015. Those emotions, they're still here, but me, I'm not there in that chair alone in my room. Today, I'm living in a house of my own, and I'm here to share with you how I got to this moment today, standing here, sharing my story. Yes, this is hard for me, but I know it will empower me to keep telling my story, to keep going, and to be strong. I retired from the Army after 12 years of service as an MP, and then I moved around quite a bit. After the Army, I was running wild, doing whatever I wanted. After some time, I got a job, went to school. I got my bachelor's degree in computer science and then my master's degree in human resource management. I was working at H&R Block and living in Alabama when time in the world caught up with me. Up until that moment, I was convinced the rest of the world was the problem and I was just fine. I had this sweet neighbor, Miss Mary. Her husband was a Navy veteran, and every day I would go over to say hello and salute Mrs. Mary's husband. Only one day, I stopped going. It worried Miss Mary, and she called the police. When the police arrived at my door, I pulled myself together and told them I was just fine, nothing was wrong. But when they left, I knew it wasn't. I hadn't left the house in days. The next thing I knew, I was standing in front of a mirror holding a kitchen knife to my throat. I had a plan. I left my notes for family and friends, and I was ready to end it all. But when I looked in that mirror, I was scared, too scared. So I called the Veterans Suicide Hotline. I was on the phone for hours with the kind person who listened and got me to the facility that could help me. And for the next 23 months, everyone that could did help me. I started in Montgomery at a VA facility. They were trying to convince me I had PTSD. After some time there, they transferred me to Tuskegee, and I spent 10 months getting more help. I was transferred to another program in Kentucky and spent 2 months there. And finally, they sent me to Cleveland, here, to the Volunteers of America and the VA, where there was a program especially for women like me. I bet you're wondering how I got there. How did I begin my life's journey as a kid, growing up in New Jersey and New York City, then to the military, and today living in Cleveland. I often tell people, you never know by looking at me, but I've had a hard go of things. When you look at me, you'll see someone positive and working to uplift others around me. But just before the surface, you'll see a kid that grew up poor, wearing hand-me-down clothing and was bullied. You'll see a girl who was raised in a tough neighborhood and a family who were members of gangs. You see a girl whose only way out was to join the military because you just couldn't leave the gangs. You had to leave in a way that was forever. During the military, I took real well to the rules because I love rules and consequences. I was tough, and I think tougher than most because of my upbringing. I had attitude and I was not afraid of anyone. During basic, my company commander said to me, "You think you're tough, don't you?" And I said, "I'm not scared of you. I've seen worse." I made it through basic training and loved it. When I was finished with basic, I was assigned to be an executive secretary. After a few months of that, they said I should join the military police. And for the next 11 years, that's what I did. It was hard. It was hard being a black woman in the military police, but I did it. I deployed during Desert Storm and thrived as an MP. I was little but mighty, and I could take down anyone who didn't follow the rules, no problem, until that night. We had gone out after our shift. At the end of the night when they came at me, there was too many of them. I couldn't fight all of them off. I just couldn't fight back. For a long time, I thought what happened to me was my fault. Was my skirt too short? Did I have too much makeup on? Maybe I said or did something that was suggestive. And for a long time, I did whatever I could to bury what happened, put it in the dark, and move forward. Enough of that. Let's get to the day. 2 weeks into my journey with VOA, I wrote the poem that I just shared with you. I was coming to grips with my PTSD. I was working the program and trying my best. Within a short time, I was a part of the Veterans Leadership Team. As I started to feel better, I felt well enough to give back because that's how it should be. Feel good, pay it forward. I believe in that. I enjoyed my time with the other veterans. I loved the structure. It's what I needed. They cared about me. And if I had a bad day and didn't want to leave my room, they'd notice and they'd come in and get me. I felt safe on the women's floor with other women veterans I could talk to. I wrote more poems and shared them with everyone. I did everything I was supposed to. Everything. I saved my money. I got an apartment. I saved more money and I was able to build my own home. I could do all of this because everything I did, I was supposed to do. I followed the rules. I even bought my dream car. I say all the time, follow the rules and you will succeed. I'm not without my PTSD. I've learned how to live with it and negotiate my life with it. I work with medical professionals to help me even more. Do I still have trust issues? Hell yes, I do. I still don't like large crowds or shopping in a full store. But instead of hiding in my home, I find the best time to go with minimal crowds. I'm taking self-defense classes, and I'm not afraid to use my voice to tell someone they are too close to me or if they are approaching me in the wrong way. I've done all of this with the help of God, Volunteers of America, and the VA. I believe God is helping me every day, giving me everything I need to live this life to the fullest. I often think of Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. They are plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And every day, the good Lord is there for me. He means not to harm me, but to give me hope and a future. I do have hope for my future, and I'm living every day to the fullest, doing what I need to do to survive and thrive. Before I go, I wanted to share one more poem with you. When I met with the staff about this event and they told me the name Power of Hope, it inspired me. On your tables, you'll find this poem, and I will quickly read it to you now. What clothes my naked soul, I do not know. What clothes my naked soul is a place I'd rather not go. Trauma seems to be a commonplace. There's too many people all up in my space. What clothes my naked soul, can you tell me? 'Cause me figuring out, that's just not gonna be. The sleepless nights, my restless soul, will close my naked inside, you don't want to go. Nightmares, flashbacks, anxiety and soul will close my naked soul, I still don't know. I cannot change the things people say, but one thing I can change, I'm going to do it my way. 'Cause your way, her way, is none of my business. If I stay in my lane, I can get through this. What clothes my naked soul, I do not know. What clothes my naked soul is a place I'd rather not go. I'm here for myself and not for others. I need to get better so I can take care of my mother. The tears, the pain, the restless nights, sometimes my soul is in a fight or flight. I guess a lot of people just don't understand, but I know that my healing is a part of God's plan. Right now I know that what hurts can also heal, but the prick of the needle I don't want to feel. As I go through the process of my recovery, what clothes my naked soul is totally up to me. Thank you all for having me here today. You and God are the power behind the hope that drives me every day. Thank you.